Hey everybody, my name is Jessica Morehouse and I am the host of The Intentional Life. I wanted to share a bit about myself. Who am I? What am I doing? What is my intention behind this group? What is my motivation? Well, I'm 34 years old. I am a mother of three beautiful children, two boys and a girl, 10, 7, and 5. And I have been married for 15 years to my husband, Aaron Morehouse. We live in Fredericton, New Brunswick, just outside. And basically, my mission over this last year has been digging deep on myself, finding out what drives me. So let's rewind and take you way back to where I grew up and all of those things. So I'm going to do this in 2 or 3 parts because I don't want the videos to be too long. But basically, I have one brother. I was born into a beautiful family, lots of love, God-fearing people. We were basically, just raised to be huggy, and we laughed a lot. Great family upbringing. My dad worked really, really hard. My mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was junior high, I think, and then she started to go back to work. She worked as a preschool teacher with one of her friends, and basically I had decent marks, and we went on vacations most every year. I got to go to Florida, we went to Ontario, we traveled, we camped. It was great. But what I tell you all of this, because you're like, well, that doesn't sound very, like it was a great life. It really was. But I watched my dad work and work and work his tail off. I'm not sure at what moment it made me completely realize, but I do know there was a moment where I realized that I wanted things to be different for my family. I didn't want that stress that he encountered, and I watched him get really quite sick a few years back from the stress of his work. I told myself that I'm not doing that I'm going to be different. I'm going to take whatever it is in my power and I'm going to change that. I was a hard worker. I worked babysitting growing up, and then I even had like a full-time summer job babysitting, and then I went and worked at a bakery in the summertime, so I had like 2 jobs going on. And I, again, going to high school, I worked after school, an average student, nothing crazy. And then kind of did my thing. I went into aesthetics and that was kind of my passion, and I've loved that. I've been doing that for 15 years. But there was just always this thing in the back of my mind, again, realizing that my dad had worked so hard and realizing the life that I was living and working so hard. There has been a couple of aha moments for me. And one was when I was working at a spa. And to me, like, this was a serious job. This was a career that I chose. This was not working at the corner store just to make a few bucks. I chose this profession because I love making people feel great about themselves, because I knew what it was like to feel good about myself. And I went to the boss one day. Actually, it was the manager. And I was so excited because I had been working for a while, and I was married at the time, like not long, but we were married. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see about getting a new car. I was super pumped. And I went to go get the car, and they were like, nope, you need a co-signer. I was like, really? This is not an expensive car. It was a new car. I was leasing it, but it was not like a crazy expensive car. And that was a huge wake-up call to me, because I was like, if I can't even get a car in my own name, like, what am I doing? Because I worked hard. I put a lot of emotion and a lot of feeling and a lot of time into what I was doing. So that was always in the back of my mind. I went to ask for a pay raise once, okay? Because if you never ask, you never get it. And I was told that basically I was making good money. And I forget what it was even at the time. And I was like, really? I said, I just went and looked to get a car, and I can't get a car in my own name, and you're telling me I'm making good money? And that was disheartening because I literally was working my tail off. And then at that same job, I think it was one Christmas, we were offered extra hours because of course it was busy, and I was all willing. You know what? I was like, I'm going to work. I'm going to be there. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. And it really didn't matter at the time on how much I worked because I wasn't commission based. It was hourly based, but still I was willing to put in the time and put in the work versus, go get a part-time job at another place. So I worked, received my paycheck according to that, and I opened it up. And I was like, really? And I remember being so disappointed and so almost getting emotional about it because I was working so hard. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. This is not what I was called to do. This is not my purpose in life, is to work my tail off and then have this. So a little time later, I had quit that job. I was asked to go work. I actually questioned my whole career, to be honest with you, because I was like, if that's the way it's going to be, then maybe I'm in the wrong career altogether, which sucked because I loved what I did. And I went to go work, which is going to be funny. I went to go sell photocopiers. Okay, so my friend's dad at the time had a business. I met with them, we talked. I was like, I've never sold anything like that before. I went in, didn't know what I was doing, failed that job miserably. Like I really did. I probably let him down, but I didn't know what I was doing. I even went away on training. And I'm good at modeling after, but I didn't even have enough of that to what am I doing? What am I doing? I didn't know what I was doing. So it was a good hiatus for me to realize that I did love aesthetics and I wanted to go back into it. So I went back into aesthetics, and kind of long story short, I don't know the exact timeline, but I did go back and I started renting from a girl, and I did that for, a few months, and then realized that I might as well kind of open up my own business, that if I wanted to have and scale with a couple of other estheticians, that I could do that. So I went off and I found a place to rent, and I opened up shop. So it was super exciting for me. It's something that I always wanted to do. And I was like, I'm going to do this. Now, let me tell you, I did not have savings saved. I just had enough to kind of get enough money together to get my aesthetics table and my paint. I think when my first phone bill came out that it didn't go through. And I had to call and make sure I got money in my account for the phone bill to go through. But I was determined. I was so determined. And that was to new beginnings. I ran that place. So to try to give you a picture of this place, okay, it was in kind of this random building, no storefront. I was on the second story, tucked away in a corner. And I hustled. I made my own website. I made my own business cards. I hired a guy to kind of help with my logo for sure. And then I just went to town. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, yeah, this looks good. I liked pretty things and I knew how to kind of put it together, and I was a little bit tech savvy, so I kind of understood all of that. So I did it. And I just built upon it and built upon it and built upon it. And leading into it, eventually I had a few experiences in that taught me so much. One I became pregnant and had my first child. So I had to hire someone to come in and take my place. And that was an interesting scenario. I had to come back to work early because basically I was going to lose my business due to time management, lack of down management with the new girl and such, to put it nicely. So I came back to work early. My baby was 2 months old, and that was a hard decision for me to do that. But I had to do what I had to do. Oh my gosh, so sorry. We worked through that hiccup, and I slowly built kind of into my business. And then there was, because it was an office building, there was like a room outside of it that I was able to grow into. And then I kind of had a more professional waiting room and a more professional like state. So it was better for me. Then I grew into another room, and I had people approach me wanting to rent from this space. And I was working, 3 and 4 nights, like 12-hour days, okay? Hubby's home with baby. I'm working the business. I'm pouring my life into it. I had a staff sort of not really even knowing what I was doing, but knowing what I kind of wanted. And I tried and I tried. I was pouring my life into this. And baby 2 was coming. And that's when a real shift happened in my life. Long story short, I had to fire somebody, and I had a staff member leave, and then I was down to 1 girl again. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had never been in this situation before. I was trying to stay afloat. As I felt like I was progressing, I found out I was pregnant, and I was asking this girl if she was going to stay. And a month before my baby came, she gave me her notice. And I knew it was done. The dream that I had worked so hard, oh my gosh, so hard to keep alive, was dying. And I thought about, like, do I sell the business? Like, there was a lot of clients. Do I sell it? Do I try to keep it? I had no money in savings because it literally was like I owed back rent. I struggled financially to catch up, but I was catching up, and then this just all fell apart. I closed my shop. It's probably one of the hardest things I had to do. A part of my life had been in that shop for almost 4 years. I spent so many hours, and there's so much time. You can't get back time. It was all gone. I remember it was the first time that I had a panic attack. I was at home. I didn't even want to look at my phone because my booking system was on my phone. I didn't want phone calls. I didn't want messages. I was just trying to navigate. I felt very isolated and very much poor me. And I remember I was home this one day shortly after I think everything was like done. And I was walking up the stairs to my home, and I was like, I can't breathe.
is this happening to me? I'm a hard worker. I thought, I wasn't doing everything super right, but I was an honest person. I was a hard worker. Like, what did I do wrong? Why isn't this working for me? And I couldn't breathe. I ran upstairs and the bathroom window was right there and I flung it open and I'm just trying to breathe. I was just like, what am I going to do now? Where does this take me now? I can't get mat leave. I'm jobless. So after baby 2, diagnosed with postpartum depression, and a lot of it had been stemming from this shop of mine, I became in a very low place in my life, and I stayed there for a while. But one day, I woke up and I was just like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling this way. This is not me. I am a happy person. I was born into a happy home. I had a great family. And it was time to change the game. And I didn't know how, but I will tell you in the next part with what changed my journey and how it all started.